evening. Welcome to the June 22nd regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Alan Fraley. I serve as Vice Chairman of the Board as well as Commissioner for the Cherville Township. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable, AT&T, for making this possible for our citizens. For our television and live stream audience, I would like to present your Gaston County Commissioners, beginning on my left.
Chad Brown, Riverbend Township.
Good evening, Bob Hovis, Crowders Mountain Township.
Tracy Philbeck, Dallas Township.
Kim Johnson, Gastonia Township.
Good afternoon, I'm Ronnie Worley, South Point Township.
Please rise for the invocation by Commissioner Hovis and the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Brown.
Before we go to prayer, I'd like for you all to join me in a moment of silence in recognition of the passing of former County Commissioner Don Grant. Gracious Father, we assemble here today to take care of the county's business. These 7 men work diligently to help the citizens of Gaston County continue to improve their quality of life. Father, grant us wisdom and knowledge and continue to grant the blessings upon Gaston County that we have seen over the last several years. We ask that in Christ's name. Amen.
Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to be entering public hearing and the commission will take citizen comment for the 5 public hearings. Comment will be taken on the following issues. ETJ 20-01 to consider acceptance of the relinquished extraterritorial jurisdiction, that's a mouthful, ETJ, by the city of Lowell into the county, Gaston County zoning jurisdiction and recommended county zoning districts for the relinquished areas. Number 2, Carolina Thread Trail Map Amendment. Number 3, to approve incentives and enter to economic development agreement, Project HEARTH. ETJ appointment, Belmont Board of Adjustments, and ETJ appointment, Stanley Board of Adjustments. Before I begin, let me outline the rules of the procedures for the hearing. Citizens wishing to make comment will be recognized by the chair, then be requested to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. All questions shall be directed to the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order during the hearings. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Motion, Commissioner Brown, second, Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? We are in public hearing. Item A, the commission will take comment on public hearing to accept the city of Lowell's ETJ relinquishment and accept the zoning of the subject area into Gaston County zoning jurisdiction. Ms. Sarah Penley, Building and Development Services Senior Planner, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizen comment will be taken by Ms. Penley. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This request is to accept and zone the relinquished extraterritorial jurisdiction by the City of Lowell into the Gaston County zoning jurisdiction and the recommended county zoning districts. As information, an extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ, is a designated area, typically a perimeter of 1 mile adjacent to a municipal boundary, that grants a municipality regulating ordinances within that designated perimeter. Examples of such ordinances would include zoning, subdivision, building codes and regulations, historic districts and landmarks, community development, erosion control, floodplains, etc. On May 11th, 2021, the City of Lowell adopted a Unified Development Ordinance, and in doing so, they chose to relinquish all the properties located within their ETJ. This item was reviewed by the Gaston County Planning Board on June 14th, and a recommendation for approval was unanimous. An application has been provided to you by the Gaston County Planning Board for your consideration. There are 194 parcels included in this action for a combined total of 372.26 acres. The locations are multiple and varied with numerous owners. The current uses are also multiple and varied. Regarding the zoning districts, the City of Lowell had previously, prior to this new adoption of their newest ordinance, the City of Lowell had adopted a modified version of Gaston County's Unified Development Ordinance. So the zoning districts are identical and similar in description to the zoning districts of Gaston County. If approved, the zoning districts would not necessarily change. They would simply be regulated by county staff moving forward, effective on July 1st, 2021. And if we can refer to the maps at this time. This is an overview map of the City of Lowell, which is shaded in gray. The areas are highlighted in green, outlined in red. This is the Area 1 for the City of Lowell's zoning district. And when we're relinquished, the zoning district as it would be shown for Gaston County. This is Area 2 for the relinquishment and their zoning districts. And again, if approved, the matching districts with Gaston County zoning. And lastly, this is Area 3 with the current zoning. And the last slide shows Area 3 with the county zoning districts applied. Mr. Chairman, the board received maps and zoning district information in their agenda packets prior to the meeting for review. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm happy to assist with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens wishing to comment? Any questions from the board?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion. Are you making a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. No additional comments. Excuse me.
No, let's go ahead. I'll let you finish. I was just going to make a motion to accept the relinquished ETJ.
Got a motion. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
We good with that one? Everything good? Okay, commission will take comment on public hearing to approve Carolina Thread Trail map amendment. Carolina Thread Trail applicant, Ms. Kathy Hart, Parks and Rec Director, will provide a brief overview. Ms. Hart.
Thank you for letting me present this to you tonight. The Blueway plan was a joint project of several county staff members. Mr. Juan Garcia, Mr. Mike Applegate, and I worked on this for about a year. We worked on this at the request of the Carolina Thread Trail. Currently, there's only one other county in the 15-county region that has a Blueway plan. So Gaston County was going to be the first county, or will be the first county, to have a Blueway and a Greenway plan. So to get started on our work with this plan, our staff met with all the municipalities in the county that have access to the river. We gathered their plans for future and current launch facilities, and all of those were incorporated into the map that you see in front of you. So, Belmont, Cramerton, Mount Holly, and Gaston County Parks and Recreation have all submitted letters of support for this project. Mount Holly also submitted a letter, but it came in late, so it may not be in your packet. We think this is a good thing to have a plan. I know from my office, I get calls constantly about where people can access the river. So from a Parks and Rec perspective, it's very important to give people public access areas. We want them to use the public access areas. Mr. Applegate is here this evening. He may have some things to add about the tourism benefits. This plan was reviewed by the Gaston County Planning Board and unanimously approved on June 14th. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Philbeck?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking at where the trail is, or I guess the plan, I just want to make sure we don't do anything to, as far as what we can control, where we have any eminent domain situations. I know the Carolina Thread Trail and other parts have used that, well, municipalities have, and will that have to come into play at all for any of this to take place?
No, all these locations that you see on the map are either currently being used as access points or they're future access points that were identified by municipalities. There's no plan for any kind of
Eminent domain.
eminent domain. Yes, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Any citizen comments? Please state your name for the record.
There we go. Hey, my name's Ashton Lamb, 209 Spring Gardens Drive, Belmont. I am a community coordinator for the Carolina Thread Trail. I'm also here with my colleague Jane Love, also community coordinator for Carolina Thread Trail. And we just want to thank you all and Gaston County staff for their support of the Thread Trail and the proposed adoption of this Blueway to the master plan. The Catawba River, the South Fork, and other blueways in Gaston County, the area, provide a really significant natural resource value in themselves, but also an economic and human value to them as well. And so we would really appreciate your support of the addition of this Blueway into the master plan and would greatly congratulate you all for being the first in the area to do so, in addition to the Carolina Thread Trail master plan as well. So thank you all so much, and that's all I have.
Michael, you have some comments?
I do,
Okay.
yes. Thank you. Just where Kathy had mentioned me, we wanted to also share our tourism perspective on this as well. I just have some brief remarks I'd like to share with the commissioners. Thank you. So I think you've probably seen through our marketing that hiking, biking, and paddling trail systems are really an important part of Gaston County's brand identity that we promote through the Department of Travel and Tourism. Almost 2 years ago, we shared with you Travel and Tourism Strategic Plan, and that included the mission to optimize our county's brand experiences to drive visitation and partner economic growth. And then we also laid out the vision to ultimately become the Piedmont's premier outdoor recreation destination. Whether we're focused on targeted destination sales and marketing, impactful destination management, influential partnerships, or effective organizational performance, our county's natural spaces and the convenient, affordable access that we provide to them differentiate us from the competition, particularly along the I-85 and I-77 corridors. Beyond tourism, the Thread Trail Master Plan amendment before you also supports the county government's organizational strategic plan. For instance, within the area of community health, safety, and well-being, it will ensure that our blueways are used responsibly, maximizing visitor enjoyment and protecting residents' private property. In economic development and planned growth, we've seen private businesses and nonprofits, such as Aquatic Adventures in Mount Holly and Catawba Riverkeeper, their foundation in McAdenville, they've recently relocated to the banks of the Catawba River and the South Fork Catawba River. And they're offering new experiences and helping us to improve visitor demand through those experiences. Lastly, under recreation, cultural, lifelong learning opportunities, updating the master plan also lays out a long-term strategy to improve connectivity between recreational spaces and associated service amenities and businesses, while balancing development with preservation in order to sustain our natural resources and drive future growth. So on behalf of the tourism staff and our advisory board, as well as our local hospitality industry, I encourage the board to accept and approve the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I think Commissioner Brown has a comment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just wanted to ask, and Commissioner Philbeck does bring up a good point. I know 10 years ago, I think it was, there was some issue. Do we think we need to add that 2 hours to make sure with no eminent domain will be taken on our resolution? I know that's a resolution. I want to make it very clean, but
I would support that.
so I just wanted to bring that up to the board before, because I know that has been an issue in the past of where some of those things had come about, but just wanted to see what the board thought.
Commissioner Hovis?
I think that has been the board's position on many items, not just the thread trail, but for eminent domain to be used by the county, that requires separate and resolutionary action above and beyond this conversation of this particular map. The board would have to enter into that type of an agreement to use our power of eminent domain. It's not just present there for somebody to pull off the shelf. It's only there when this board grants it. So I don't see it necessary, but I fully understand, and that has been the county's position on those types of issues.
If that's the case, I'll move it.
Any other comments? Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to comment on the thread trail itself and the Blueways. I've been associated now with the thread trail for probably going on 10 years, since I was in Cramerton, and we designated part of the thread trail in Cramerton, continued that on throughout Goat Island Park, but been a number of entrepreneurs that have started small businesses associated just with the thread trail. There's 2 canoe kayak companies now in Cramerton, one the Floating Goat and then another one at South Fork Village, that they rent kayaks and canoes for folks that want to get to the Blueways, but also South Main Cycles in Belmont sell bikes and equipment associated with that. So there is an economic incentive to us expanding this. People continue to come here for recreational activities. I hear so much Poston Park, Goat Island, the Rocky Branch trails now in Belmont that are all, I was down with my son there last week. So there is an economic development component to this, and I support it, and that's why I sponsored the resolution. But so I think it'll continue to do good things for us. So thank you.
Thank you. If there's no additional comments, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing. Got a first here and a second. Commissioner Hovis, all in favor? It was Commissioner Brown that made that motion. Okay, now we need to do a motion to approve, if we could get a motion. Commissioner Worley?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the Thread Trail Master Plan and maps for the Gaston County communities and the Blueway Trail.
Okay, we got a second. Commissioner Brown, any discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimous. The commission will take comment on the approval Gaston County Level 4 Incentive Grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1 and enter into an Economic Development Agreement, EDA, with Project HEARTH. Mr. Donnie Hicks, EDC Director, will provide a brief overview. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm here tonight to talk about Project HEARTH. They anticipate investing roughly $135 million into a new facility and personal equipment. They'll create 128 jobs at an average salary of about $36,515 a year. We're not giving them anything that they wouldn't be entitled to under our regular policy, but you can imagine with an investment of that level that they're going to want the ultimate assurance that we're going to follow through and deliver on the incentives. So we already have a basic EDA with with North Point, which is one of the sites. And so this would take care of the personal equipment. And again, we're just verifying that we're going to do what's in our policy.
That it?
That's it.
Any citizens wish to comment? Any questions from the board?
Motion to close public hearing.
Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Hovis, second it.
And I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, we got to vote on closing the public hearing. Let's vote on that first. All in favor? The public hearing is closed. Now, we had a motion from Commissioner Philbeck, second from Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion on approving this? We good?
You good?
All right.
All in favor?
All in favor? Thank you. I'm getting, hey, I hadn't chaired a meeting in about 10 years, so I'm getting, yeah, I know you got my back, man. All right, we're going to item D. County Commission will take citizen comment concerning applications submitted before the public hearing on ETJ appointment to Belmont Board of Adjustments. The City of Belmont has recommended the appointment of Mr. Ken Taylor as the ETJ member of the Belmont Board of Adjustments. Madam Clerk, do we have any additional applications received? None. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, we're going.
I have one. I always
Okay.
vote no on all ETJs because I personally feel they're unconstitutional. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. If there's no additional comments, we're going to vote to close the public hearing. Motion, Commissioner Hovis, second, Commissioner Brown. All in favor? Closed. Do I have a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Ken Taylor?
Motion to
Motion and a
appoint.
second. To appoint Mr. Ken Taylor to Belmont Board of Adjustments. All in favor? We got all but one. I think Mr. Philbeck was the only no vote. Am I
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Should be 5-1.
Ronnie and me was the motion and the second done.
All right, item E. County Commission will take citizen comment concerning applications submitted before the public hearing for ETJ appointment to the Count of Stanley Board of Adjustments. The Stanley Town Council has recommended the appointment of Miss Alicia Summy as the ETJ member to Stanley Board of Adjustments. Madam Clerk, any additional applications were received for citizens' comment? None received. Any comments or questions?
I have one.
Mr. Brown.
Just so Commissioner Philbeck will feel good about this one. This is actually a person who lives in the ETJ who's applying for this, so they do have representation, so I hope you'll support it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion to close the public hearing. We got a motion by Commissioner Brown, second Commissioner Worley. All in favor? All opposed? Another 5-1 with Commissioner Philbeck being the no vote. Did we
Yep.
close it?
That was to close.
All right, we're closing the public
right.
hearing. All in
I'm
favor of closing
5-1.
the public hearing?
It's still 5-1.
All right.
Against ice cream, are you against ice cream for everybody?
Yeah.
Now, we're going to go through and vote on this other one again. Do we need to?
Motion.
Okay, we got a motion, Commissioner Brown.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Worley. All in favor?
No.
Okay, all opposed? You got that, Donna? All right.
Supreme Court up here.
Thank you, and this concludes tonight's public hearings. Thank goodness.
Ginsburger.
All right, now we're going to move on to approval of the business agenda. Are there any revisions to the business agenda or any items that need to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hovis, second by Commissioner Philbeck. All in favor?
You got me on that one.
Now we go to approval of minutes, is that right?
I make a
Well,
motion we
okay.
approve the minutes as written, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion, Philbeck, and second, Commissioner Brown. All in favor? Unanimous. Our next item is citizen recognition. A portion of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens the opportunity and offer comments and suggestions. The comment period is not intended to require the commission or staff to answer questions or provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the county manager's office. Citizen recognition will be limited to 1 hour. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. As I call your name, please step to the podium, state your name and address. The first citizen to speak that signed up is Dan Setzer, it looks like.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dan Setzer, live at 1417 Long Shoals Road, Lincoln, but in Gaston County. And I'm speaking tonight to voice my concern about the lithium mine in northwest Gaston County. And my basic point is that while Piedmont Lithium has everything to gain, the residents of this area will only lose. This mine will be here for only about 25 years, and then Piedmont Lithium and those with the vested interest will be gone. County residents will be left with a region of Gaston County that was once the most beautiful around, and in its place will be environmental ruin, as I think. Piedmont Lithium's own FAQ page mentions that the water table could be damaged, and we should expect it to be damaged. Wells and home foundations of adjacent property could very well be damaged. Other types of issues that the residents will have to suffer, such as blasting, truck traffic, road damage, environmental issues, and waterway issues. So how do we know that Piedmont Lithium will correct and rectify these issues for the residents? Piedmont Lithium gains will gain and make millions of dollars, and the county residents will lose. We know that lithium is increasing in demand and will continue to do so, but the reserves here are a very small fraction of global reserves. So is this mine really needed? This venture is speculative, so they could go bust. And then where does that leave us? Either way, in 25 years, they're gone. And what happens to all the facilities they built, the big mine, the hole in the ground, and the problems they cause our residents? Will their exit plans and the reclamation bonds be binding when they leave? So you commissioners, y'all have a tough decision to make, and I hope that you will consider all these questions and concerns, and I'm sure you will. And I think the residents now and the people who will be living here going forward deserve your consideration much more than a company who's just going to take from the area and be gone one day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Setzer. And by the way, they're scheduled to be on our agenda next, is that on the 20th?
Yes, sir.
They are, so that might be a meeting that you would want to attend.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next up, Mr. Warren Snowden.
Good evening, Warren Snowden, 611 Adderholt Road. I agree with Dan's comments, but I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach with you all this evening. So I appreciate the commission, the staff, and your service to Gaston County. I'm pleased to know that your goals of this board, they include the promotion of a favorable quality of life, to develop policies and protect the open space and the agricultural farmland, and to provide a safe and healthy community for all of our citizens. I stand before you tonight, as Dan said, is one of the largest decisions to come before this board, which will be a very long-lasting decision, was upcoming. As a fourth-generation family farm, our farm touches many residents, and we have a long history of conservation and of outreach to the community. That will be impacted, and that's something that we really want consideration for. We, like you, do not yet know the proposed operations of the mine and the full intentions for Piedmont Lithium, but we are very concerned that this will have an impact on the future of Gaston County. But what we do know is that technology is changing, and one of the ways in which the lithium mining is going is towards direct lithium extraction. As two companies that are here in this community, Albemarle and Livent, have invested heavily overseas and other parts of the world that are served by direct lithium extraction. The way that they propose to approach this mine as a hard rock mine is a very damaging, it's a very destructive, and it's a very expensive way to mine lithium. It's not the future of lithium. Brine extraction is. Examples of that might include Neolithium, who have 86,000 acres under lease in Argentina for a lithium mine. You also have folks such as Millennial Lithium, Livent Lithium, Lithium X, and in the U.S. you have companies such as Standard Lithium, which actually in partnership with Albemarle have about 158,000 acres under lease for this exact process of direct lithium extraction out of the bromine stream. There's other ways as well, including clay, which Tesla is heavily invested in, and to recycle existing product out of the batteries today. So my point is that you shouldn't feel obligated that this is, or pressured that this is the only way that the lithium industry will move forward. Gaston County should not be exploited to meet the global demand. The reserves that we have in the U.S. represent a very small fraction, and this mine is only 1% of the potential need for 2030 in lithium demand. So hard rock mining is economically tough. There have been 2 companies recently that have gone through bankruptcy because of the expense of hard rock mining. So I just urge this board to consider, is this really the progressive and the correct way to move forward with the extraction of lithium in Gaston County? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Warren. I'm sure you'll be here next month also. Now we'll move to the approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Commissioner Fieldback, do I have a second? Commissioner Johnson, second. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, I believe, are we at appointments now?
Yep.
Okay. Appointments beginning on my left.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to do Commissioner Kiger's first, and then I will go to my own, if that's okay with the board. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council reappointment requested by Alan Cloninger. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council reappointment requested by Gerald Mack. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council reappointment requested Judge Penny Thrower.
Have a second? Have a second. Commissioner Hovis, all in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll do with mine now. Juvenile Crime Prevention, Rebecca S. Jones. Substance Abuse, Juvenile Crime Prevention, Angie Karchmer, reappointment requested. Reappointment requested from the Community Rep, Edgar Bogle. And I also have one for the Jury Coordinator position, application received by Ms. Gina Ramsey.
Second.
Got a second. Commissioner Fieldback, all in favor? Unanimous. Commissioner Hovis.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 5 tonight. To the Health and Human Services Board, Ms. Lori Hannafin as a reappointment. To the Health and Human Services Board, Ms. Betty Worthy as a reappointment. To the Historical Preservation Commission, Mike Peters as a reappointment. To the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, JCPC, Brian Denton as a reappointment. And a new application to the Workforce Development Board representing the private sector for Marina Terjo.
I have a second. Second. Commissioner Brown, all in favor? Unanimous. Commissioner Fieldback, do you have any?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make them all in one motion. Emergency Medical Service Committee, Andrew Matthews. Family Advisory Board, Mr. Bradley Overcrash. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Samantha Dye, reappointment requested. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Carol McManus. Travel and Tourism Advisory Board, Heather C. Britton. And the Workforce Development Board, Selena Lee.
Do I have a second? Second. Commissioner Johnson, second. All in favor? Unanimous. Commissioner Johnson, you're up.
I've got several appointments. The Caramont Health is going to be Timothy Eford. Dr. Meekin he resigned due to moving out of county, so Timothy Eford would be the appointment. Health and Human Services Board, reappointment for Dr. Kelvin Harris. The Historic Preservation Commission, reappointment for Keith Camburn. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, a reappointment for Judy Leahy. The Library Board of Trustees, a new appointment, Robert Larkin. And reappointment, Region First Aging Advisory Committee is John Roberts.
Second.
All in favor? Commissioner Worley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 4 appointments or reappointments tonight. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council be Josie Brady is the youth representative, Joe Ramey, Chief of Police, and Jesse Caldwell IV for the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. And lastly, Workforce Development, Vanessa Trapp Span. So I would offer those as...
Did you get done, Commissioner Worley?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
that's
got a
it.
second, all in favor? Unanimous. I got one, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, David Williams, County Manager Designee.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we got some full board appointments here. So, Equalization and Review Board, Cecil Jackson.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion, got a second? Second, all in favor? Okay, we got Gaston Board of Trustees.
I'd make the
Gaston
motion of
College Board of Trustees, we got several.
Randy
applicants.
Vincent.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
the motion.
we got, I got you. We got a motion for Randy Vincent, do we have a second? Second, Commissioner Hovis, all in favor? Unanimous. Yes, okay. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, reappointment requested for Commissioner Ronnie Worley.
I'll second.
See, what's that position again?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Not unless Commissioner Johnson wants it.
I made the motion, she
We got a
seconded.
motion,
Kim seconded.
Somebody second it.
Kim seconded, we're good, all in
Any
favor?
discussion?
Okay, Commissioner Committee reports,
discuss
Commissioner
that.
Brown,
Got none at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one brief, quick update. As you all are aware, I'm sure you saw the articles in the Gazette and other media that Caramont did complete their groundbreaking exercise for the second site there in Belmont. We are well on track, actually a little bit ahead of schedule. All the steel is in place for the urgent care 4 stories that are being added to the main campus presently on Court Drive. A lot of things moving in the Caramont area and expansion for several other of the Caramont facilities. So as your representative to the Caramont Board, I just want you to know that the Caramont staff's doing a great job moving things forward at a very fast pace and trying to keep the county safe.
Thank you for the report. Mr. Philback.
None at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Johnson,
None at this time.
Mr. Worley.
I'd just make a few brief comments, Mr. Chair. Just on Sunday, I was honored to attend the Gaston County Veterans United States Armed Forces pinning ceremony that was held at East Ridge Mall, along with Representative Torbett, Senator Alexander from Lincoln, and several other council members that were there. And we had a chance just to honor veterans there at the mall in association with the All-American Fair that's going on out there. And so that was a good time to be out there and welcome all the vets that were in attendance. Yesterday also, just along with Commissioner Keeger, attended the funeral service for Don Grant. So we were able to be there and represent the board. And lastly, changing streams a little bit, as you all know, we are again a co-applicant for the build grant that will be awarded later in the year. But the City of Gastonia, the City of Lowell are planning on sending representatives to lobby for the build grant, which we feel like we've got a good shot at. I just wanted this board to be aware that we have been asked to send someone in that capacity, and it may be that it's Donnie Hicks. Donnie was here earlier. Well, he's still back there. It may be that Donnie would take that position, but they're going to be going sometime in July to meet with the Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Buttigieg, I think. So have to have that, but I wanted that to be on our radar, that build grant's very important, as Donnie can speak to, that and we've got a real good opportunity this year to win that grant. That's what, about $35 million, Donnie, for that.
If I could add, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go right ahead.
The date for the meeting, to Mr. Worley's comments, is the 27th of July. And I shared the same request with the chairman earlier, so we'll have discussions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it. Donnie, you planning on attending? I can't hardly see you back there. Okay. Probably be a good idea for somebody to attend. County Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I have a few comments to share with you concerning the pre-planning that staff is doing for the next bond issuance, excuse me, for Gaston County Schools. As you may recall, the county was authorized to issue $250 million. That occurred in the spring of 2018. The first issuance was in late 2018 in the amount of $60 million. So that leaves us with $190 million yet to issue. The original schedule was to issue a second batch, if you will, in spring of 2022. We are talking with the school system, and we still anticipate that we will meet that timeline. And then the third issuance would be sometime during 2025, and the last issuance sometime in 2028. So we're working now with the school system to determine the appropriate amount for spring of 2022. We will have performance indicators, we will have a project list, and we'll keep you updated on that progress. So those remaining funds for us to issue will be used for 2 new or replacement schools, specific schools to be determined, classroom additions, and additional maintenance. I had received a few questions over the course of the last couple of weeks related to the next bond issuance, so I wanted you to kind of know where we are. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, I would like to throw a piece of information out there. As we're looking at this issuance, I'd like for us to look at what we can do in terms of land banking. Because we have other needs that are imminent, but not necessarily were part of the original scope of this $250 million package. But to go ahead and create some land banking would give us a strategic advantage as we move forward on the next set of school needs. We would already have that property under our control. We would have the opportunity to extend water, sewer, whatever other services were needed. We could plan and not be reactionary. Until we start land banking for the replacement of other facilities, we are never going to get ahead of this curve. And I think that's the most strategic action that we can take. And plus, when we're land banking, we're taking this action on our timetable and not precipitant of someone trying to market something. That's my comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Hovis, and I agree with you 100%. And land just continues to go up and up and up, and if we could do it now, maybe we can save some money future. I think Commissioner Brown also has a comment.
I wanted to add to something that Commissioner Hovis was talking about, just because Dr. Eagle was not here at that time. During the last building of a school, we had requested that always Mr. Hicks be involved in the land acquisition of anything that they did going forward, to be involved in that process. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, because you weren't here, but that is something that was very contingent, and we made sure that we did put that in place the last time on our own issue. So I just want to bring that to the board's attention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Brown is completely correct. We would like to, as part of our assistance, to the Board of Education, we would like to have a seat at that table when those sites are being looked at and vetted. And that helps us on multiple fronts and also helps the Board of Education as
Yep.
well.
Thank you both, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you
We
for
carry-
the update, Dr. Eagle, and the report. County Attorney's report.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the board, I would just have one quick note on the opioid litigation front. A few weeks ago, y'all signed on to the statewide MOA between the state and counties as to how those funds, if and when that settlement comes to fruition, will be dispersed. And I'm pleased to announce that we're approaching the halfway point with respect to the litigating counties, the 76 counties who are a part of that national litigation, and we're to the number 35 right now of counties in the state of that 76 who've signed on to the MOA. Thank you. I think that's right. I think that's right.
Thank you for the report. Any other matters to come before the board at this time? Seeing none, I want to point out that the board voted tonight to reschedule the July work session from July the 13th to July the 20th at 6 p.m. I think we had a conflict with some of the commissioners that weren't going to be available, so we'd make sure we had a quorum. We moved that to that date, and I think that is the date where Piedmont Lithium plans to make their presentation, as I'd stated earlier. Okay, no further questions. This meeting will be adjourned. Wait, let me finish this. This concludes our meeting for tonight. Our next work session, again, July the 20th. Our next regular meeting is July 27th. Both meetings will be held at 6 o'clock here in the Harley B. Gaston Jr. Public Forum Courthouse. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please telephone our clerk, Donna Buff, at 704-866-3196. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Meeting adjourned.